I think the biggest thing you can do for your body is have muscle and build muscle and maintain that muscle. Muscle is the most precious thing now. I so believe that muscle is the key to good health. My immune system was shot to bits. You know, I used to have bouts of shingles. In my immune system now, it's really strong. The ironic thing is that when you build muscle, it burns through fat anyway.
Annie Murray, welcome to the American Glutton Podcast.
Thank you.
I'm fascinated by what you're doing, and I think it's very noble that you started your journey late in life, and that your focus is on people who are. I mean, I was out to dinner last night with people my age. I'm just about 50. They were in their 50s, and one of the big conversations was, well, our metabolisms has slowed down. It's impossible to put on muscle mass. And so why even try? And I was literally thinking, I'm going to talk to Annie about this tomorrow, but like, I think they have it all wrong, right?
Oh gosh, yes, absolutely. They really have got it wrong. You can build muscle at any age. I mean, I've got a client who's 70, and he's amazing. He's been coming to me for nearly 2 years now. He is building muscle, his metabolism is increasing, his metabolic age, you know, he's improving. He's got a metabolic age, I think last year of 62. So, you know, yeah, that just proves, doesn't it, that you can build muscle and increase your metabolism and do all these wonderful things for your body at any age, really.
What does metabolic age means? Like that's a representation of your age based on your metabolism.
Yes, I guess it's the ability to burn calories. It assesses. So I've got a metabolic age of 35. So
Wow.
I burn calories as the same as a 35-year-old person. So it kind of compares your metabolism with people of your same age. And yeah, so mine is 35. So yeah.
What started you down this path?
Wow. What started me? I mean, my profession is in computing, so I worked in IT for many years, and then I had children, and then I sort of had to give up work. Wanted to give up work to look after them, and then I went back into IT. And with IT, it's a very sedentary job, isn't it? I'm always sitting down, so I reached the point kind of in my career that I just felt like I wanted to be more active, and I also wanted to help people actually, because I've always loved fitness, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to have a change of profession here. I really fancy doing something different. So really interested and passionate about exercise. So I'm just going to follow my passion. So, and that was when I was 47. So I went from being a computer programmer, writing websites in WordPress, to changing my career completely and doing a personal training course. And I did that, yes. But at the same time, I was in perimenopause. Without me knowing it, actually, because I didn't really know much about this perimenopause at that age. I had no idea I was actually in it until several years later. But what happened was I felt that my body wasn't able to process alcohol in the same way as I used to. So I was, after a night of drinking, you know, a few drinks out with some friends socially, I would start having this anxiety kind of moments the next day, which weren't very pleasant. So it kind of went hand in hand, so that around the same time as I was training to be a personal trainer, I decided to try and do something for my body. And I thought, I'm going to try and, yeah, I'm going to stop drinking, because I think that's a good thing. I want to be a really good personal trainer. I want to be a good role model. So yeah, I'm going to stop drinking. So I stopped drinking, and just to see if that would help my symptoms of anxiety that I was suffering. So with the perimenopause, actually, so that had a lot to do with it. So yeah, so I stopped drinking around the same time as I became a personal trainer. So that was really the start of it all, start of my personal journey as well as my new professional journey. So yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that resistance training can be incredibly beneficial to perimenopause and menopause. Um, I have four daughters and a wife, and I run into a lot of resistance, in a more of a figurative sense from them in trying to talk about lifting weights because I think the idea that they're going to get boxy or muscular, or look anything like me is a turnoff to them, and I understand that, but it is also well, first of all, I want to say like it's very, very it's there's got to be a lot of effort put into building muscle, and putting on a lot of muscle takes a long, long time. And so like just lifting, moving weights around is not going to do it. But do you find with women that you have some back off from some of them about lifting weights or doing resistance training?
Yeah, I think a lot of women are scared of lifting weights because they're scared of getting bulky. I think that does prevent a lot of women from doing it. But I've been lifting weights now for 4 years, and I'm 5'3", and I weigh, just under 50 kilograms, and I've got a muscle mass of 40 kilograms. So um, what you're going to do, women, we haven't got the same makeup as men, hormonal makeup. So we haven't got that high testosterone. So, it's very hard for us to bulk out. But what we are going to do with lifting weights, with progressive overload, which is how you grow muscle, um, is you're going to grow lean muscle. So you're going to get a leaner look. So your weight might not change, but what will happen because muscle weighs heavier than fat, so it's more denser. So if you look at like a pound of fat and on a plate, for example, and you've got a pound of muscle, so the muscle is going to look so much smaller than the pound of fat, right? So if you think about that in human terms, where you're building muscles, so your weight might not change, right? But you're going to look leaner because muscle is leaner than fat, although it's might weigh the same amount. So, it's going to be leaner. So you're going to build muscle, and you're going to become more toned and leaner looking. And that's what you're going to look. So, when people say to me, I want that toned look that you're looking for is building muscle. It
Yeah,
is.
I mean that's such an interesting thing too because we can all get so obsessed with the scale. And
Yeah.
if you're in there, I have a buddy who did he was quite heavy, and he did a gastric sleeve and lost, I want to say 200 pounds, quite a bit of weight. And
Wow.
he was telling me a week ago that he's 4 pounds away from this weight that he wants to be before he starts doing real training to put on muscle. And I was saying to him, who cares about those 4 pounds? Like, you're not going to see those 4 pounds. This is not going to make a difference. And you might even put those 4 pounds back on when lifting weights, but who cares? Because you would see more of a difference if you took those 4 pounds and turned them into muscle, right? And weighed exactly the same. You would notice that more than if you just lost the 4 pounds in fat or water or whatever we're trying to do at that tiny little edge after having lost 200 pounds. But I think this is a difficult thing for the girls in my life at least is to convince them like start lifting weights and stop paying attention to the scale for a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, it's just ingrained in us, I think, particularly for women, I think, is that, you have to be thin to be healthy. People get obsessed by it. They're obsessed by the scales and stuff like that. Um, I think the biggest thing you can do for your body is have muscle and build muscle and maintain that muscle. Muscle is the most precious thing now. I so believe that muscle is the key to good health because, I mean, I can just give myself an example. Like 4 years ago, my muscle mass was very low. Prior to like doing weight training, I used to do loads of endless cardio. I used to think that was the healthiest way, and body weight exercises. So my muscle mass was really quite low. And my immune system was shot to bits. I used to have bouts of shingles. Every year, really bad shingles all over my back, all over one half. I'd constantly be ill, and I look at my immune system now, it's really strong. I got a cold the other day. I mean, I've got to touch wood when I say this because you kind of, I'm going to jinx myself here, but I have had one cold in a whole year, and that lasted 2 days, and I shrugged it off like that. So that I haven't, my immune system is so strong. I think people are so transfixed on being thin, and thin is healthy and you've got to keep your weight down and all of this. But the ironic thing is that when you build muscle, it burns through fat anyway. It speeds up your metabolism, which and muscle uses more calories. It burns through more calories than fat does. So you have more muscle, you burn more calories anyway. So it the key is to health and also to losing weight. I think if people want to lose fat, they need to concentrate on building muscle. That's
Yeah.
key,
Yeah.
rather than cutting your calories down, because if you're cutting your calories down and not weight training, then you're going to be losing fat, yes, but you're also going to be losing muscle. So the perfect combination, if you want to lose weight, is to weight train so you protect and build the precious muscle, and also you'll lose weight. So yes, cut the calories, but weight train. Make sure you weight train so that you protect that precious muscle and build muscle at the same time. That's the ideal thing,
Yeah.
the ideal combination.
I had done all the fad diets that came out, through the 90s and 2000s and even back into the 80s when I was a little kid, I was put onto fad diets. And um I found it relatively easy to like put my head down and suffer for 30 days or 60 days and just be in the hurt locker and lose a bunch of weight. The weight always came back very quickly. My biggest fear with the advent of these drugs that basically make dieting that way easier is that you will wind up with people who are losing so much lean tissue that their relative body fat percent, this is not for somebody who's 500 pounds. If that guy it loses 250 pounds, I think it's only a benefit. So I'm not knocking it for those people. But for people who need to lose 20 pounds, I think you might see this situation where their body fat percentage actually stays the same, you know, and that's not such a great outcome. And so I really do hope people start advocating more for, if you've tried everything and you just can't lose weight and you're gonna go do one of these peptides, resistance train, get adequate protein and do some resistance training, because I think what you're saying is I agree with you. I think And far be it from me to determine what is correct for everybody. Maybe somebody wants to be very low musculature and look like, what was it when you and I were young? Heroin chic was in, you know what I mean? Like Twiggy was a supermodel. Maybe they want to look like that, and that's not for me to tell them not to. But I think for the most part, people seeking health and seeking well-being, when they think about weight loss, uh, I don't think they're thinking about the specificity that fat loss is different than weight loss. Weight loss is water, lean tissue, fat. It's all of those things. And specified fat loss is a slightly more complicated result, and it requires a little resistance training.
Definitely, yes. I think ideally, there should be, yes, if they want to lose fat, then it is being in a calorie deficit, but also combine it with strength training because you want to keep that precious muscle because that muscle is so key to your health, your metabolism for processing glucose. It's essential. So I think people are transfixed with losing fat, but they're not considering keeping the muscle in that kind of equation, and that's really, really important. So, and as I said before, if they build muscle, it speeds up your metabolism anyway. So you burn through calories, so the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn at rest. So it's a no-brainer, really.
Yeah.
So
What are some of the things you start your clients off on? Is the first day resistance training and weightlifting?
So I've just had a client now, and she's a newbie, so she's come along, and I asked her to come for half an hour chat before the session. So we sit down, and I spend half an hour with her talking about her goals, what she wants to get out of these sessions, and then I ask her about her fitness levels and any injuries, obviously, and stuff like that. So nutrition is key. I also asked her to do a 3-day food diary. So one day of a week, one day has to be a weekend day, and the rest, midweek or weekdays. So then I've got that, and I'll go away and study that. And I want them just to be brutally honest because, otherwise I can't help them. So then I can analyze that, and I can just see an instance where what's not, where they're going wrong. I can just tell. So, for example, this new client, um, not eating enough protein. Yeah, just like screaming, not eating. She's missing breakfast. She started eating way late in the day, and already, you're behind with your protein intake. Protein is so essential for your health as well. So just not enough protein. Yeah. So she's gone away. So after half an hour, we sat down, discussed her goals, her nutrition. I'll go back to her and I'll say to her next week, right, this is how we're going to plan your nutrition. And it's not a 30-day challenge. It's not a 6-week challenge. I say to them, what I teach you here about nutrition is I am teaching you how to eat properly, healthily. I'm teaching you, I've got to rewire your brain how you think about food, okay? And it's changing habits and it's sustainable habits. It's not a diet, it's a way of eating, okay? So I teach them how to eat healthily. So, yeah, so already I said, right, for next week, I just want you to do one thing for me while I'm analyzing all the data you've given me with your nutrition. I said, I've already seen it. You're not having breakfast, right? So you need to start having some sort of high protein breakfast. So I've said to her, just make that one change this week. Try and do that. So whether you eat your breakfast at 11 o'clock, okay? So let's have that at 11 if you want to, if you can't stomach it early. So I've told her to go ahead, 250 grams of low fat Greek yogurt. She wants to lose some weight. Low fat, high protein, wonderful. Greek yogurt is the god. I love Greek yogurt, right? 250 grams. Okay, if you get the right type of Greek yogurt, that's 25 grams of protein you're getting in your body. And I said to her, right, add 30 grams of nuts to that. All right, can be any kind of nut as long as it's not roasted or salted, you know, a good nut, walnuts, hazelnuts, cashews, almonds, 30 grams. So that's about another 5 grams of protein. So, and then add some berries in there, right? So that, I'm said, have that, try and have that every single day for a week. And already she's getting 30 grams of protein in that one meal. So yeah, that's how I've started her off. And then we went into a strength training session. So yeah, so we did 5 minute warm up, a dynamic stretch. Then I introduced her to some weight training. So she hasn't done strength training before. So we're targeting all the muscle groups. Okay, so in that one session, so back, biceps, chest, triceps, legs, shoulders, we and core if we've got time. So, but we ran out of time, so it's fine. So yeah, and then we do. We did some interval training on the air bike. We did have time for that, poor love. So 2 minutes, 10 minutes slow, 10 seconds slow, 20 seconds fast for 4 rounds on the air bike. Yeah, that finished off the session nicely. And then she had a stretch. So yeah, it was really successful. So she's going to come back next week. I hope.
That's awesome. Right. Yeah, you can't, well, you can't kill them so much that they can't come back next week, right? You got to give
No,
leaves
she
a
needs to
little
come
room in the
back.
tank. Yeah, yeah. Do you find, because I think my situation was every time I wound up seeing somebody with like you, I was so, crawling out of my skin with need to change, that my impulse was to go so hard that I'd almost break myself. Do you find people come to you who are just like, I need the entire transformation today, or I want you to almost to the point of like punish me for my sins of eating and slothfulness or something like that? Do you ever have to slow people down?
Um, well, I say to people, it's not a quick fix. This is not, it's changing your mindset. It's changing everything, the way you live your life. It's and sustainably. There's no quick fix out there. There really isn't, right? It's you're in it for the sort of long run. So, and yeah, it shouldn't be about punishing your body for something that you've, done over the weekend. I don't know. It shouldn't be about that. It should be teaching your client to fall in love with the process. That's the most important thing. Fall in love with starting to care for themselves and look after themselves rather than punishing themselves for, a bag of chips they ate last night. It's about, just forget about that. It's about enjoying and falling in love with the process. And I think that's the key to keeping exercise, the momentum going, is that you fall in love with the process. And once you start doing that and you start seeing the benefits, and it's like, and fall in love with looking after yourself, rather than trying to punish yourself. That's what I try and teach people about, really.
Yeah,
It's
I think
sustainable.
sustainable, and that fall in love with taking care of yourself. I found, I mean, that's so wise, because a lot of my behavior towards myself through food was, you know, from a point of view, hateful. It was damaging. And so then my impulse and my instinct, often when I would finally wake up and need to do something different, was, well, I need to go damage myself in the gym. And learning to do it in a way that is caring for myself was hard, because that's not innate to me. That has to be done analytically to some point, and there must be brakes applied just so I don't harm myself. And oftentimes I would harm myself and then not be able to go back and work out, whether I needed like knee surgery, or I've lifted weights so much and exhausted myself so thoroughly I have to lay down for the rest of the day, whatever it is. I think that sometimes it's really nice to have somebody there going like, no, what we're doing is a kindness, you know?
Yeah, definitely. It's so important. It really is. And slowing stuff down, not going like the clappers and that's also what I teach. And I like to teach in my sessions about mind muscle connection. And because a lot of people come in and they're like, oh, I've just got these, get these reps done really quickly, and I'm like, hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. Like, slow the exercise down. What I want you to think about is what muscles you're engaging in. Feel, and then you realize what the exercise is all about. And because once you feel the muscles working, and you can only do that by slowing it right down and perfecting that technique. I'm all about form. Okay. And when you're whizzing through reps, you've got to slow it right down. Okay. And feel that mind muscle connection about what muscles are being engaged in that exercise. And it just really helps, with understanding what's working, what's being worked in that certain exercise. So rather than trying to punish yourself doing 100 reps in something, and I'd rather slow it right down and just think, and I don't know, I think that really helps.
I do too. I actually get a lot more out of it. I get deeper soreness. I find it to be much more difficult to go slowly. I know there's some stuff I like to do dynamically, but there will always be a half of the movement at least that I want to be very, very slow, and usually it's the opposite. Like on the bench press, up for me can be fast, but down has to be very, very slow, and reverse that for anything with the back. Down can be very fast and up can be very, very slow because you're actually, I find like if I try to just go for reps, how many reps can I get really, really quickly? I'm either going to damage myself or I'm not going to get a lot out of it. I'll wind up feeling cardiovascularly fatigued before the muscles themselves are fatigued. That's just my experience.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's about quality really than quantity. So, and you've got to keep your form on all of these things, The form is so important. So, it's when someone first comes to me, it's all about learning the movements, and then once you've nailed those, then you can move forward and progress. So, and it's a very slow process, isn't it, of building muscle, as you've done that. And it's a journey, and I think enjoy it.
Yeah.
So the first stage is to learn the movements, learn the squat, learn the deadlift, and learn, it's a knee dominant, it's a hip dominant, learn all about the movements. And I try and teach those in my sessions as well. So I don't just say, right, we're going to do a bench press. I'm going to say, right, I actually teach people, right, this is the muscles that are going to be engaged here, and teaching them is so, that's why I love my job, because I just love teaching people, what muscles are being engaged in those movements, and kind of, and teaching them, they're learning. It's great. I love that about my
Yeah.
job. It's brilliant. So it's so important because they've got to learn. It's just a journey, isn't it? It's a journey, which I feel so lucky to be able to put people on that journey and see their progress. It's just such a wonderful thing because you're helping them to transform their lives. I mean, what an amazing thing to do. I just think it's just a great job being a trainer.
Do you find people beginning at our age have a harder time having 40 or 50 years of habits ingrained within them to create new ones, to create new habits? Is that more difficult?
Oh, habits are, yeah, habits are really hard to change, aren't they? Habits, I think, but I mean, I've managed to conquer quite a few habits in my life, and yeah, I mean, one of them was alcohol, so I stopped drinking alcohol. Um, and again, that's just, people get into the habit of like, going through the day and thinking, oh, I just need a glass of wine to relax me. So, and then they suddenly get into this little habit of having that glass of wine a certain time of day, and the same with chocolate and the same with things like that. Habits are very hard to break, but You can break them. You can. God, if I'm capable of doing, I mean, I stopped drinking. That was one habit I broke years ago. I stopped smoking, so that was the first habit. I think out of all of the habits I've stopped, that was the hardest. Smoking was
Smoking.
just, oh my God, that was just the hardest habit to break. Drinking, yeah, that was tough, but yeah, I did it. And then the next one after all of those, and then I gave up sugar. I gave up sugar when I was like 51. And after drinking and smoking, that was like a piece of cake, mind the pun. But yeah, it was. So yeah, I mean the withdrawals 2 weeks. Yeah, it was fine. But yeah, it's about changing habits and replacing them with sort of healthier options is a good one. So yeah, yeah, habits are tricky little things, but
Uh,
you can change them.
yeah. Yeah. And I think people who wind up seeing you are that's their inclination, right? And it's just putting them through their paces and being there for them every day and getting them to what are some of the things that you're having people do? Just general resistance training, or do you have programs? Tell me about your app. How did you come up with this?
Oh, my app. Oh, my app. Yeah, so that's been live now for I don't know, six weeks, maybe a bit longer now. So, well, basically, I wanted to well, going back to Instagram, which is the reason kind of this has happened online. So, I just started to go onto Instagram like last January or about 18 months ago. I was on Instagram for a little while, but I was posting kind of like things like, oh, this is a great box fit class we did tonight. It was great. Everyone's having a great time. Yeah. And then I thought, do you know what? I it was June 2023, I think. No, January 2023, and I thought, you know, I'm going to start posting about me. I thought, I've done loads of stuff to do with my health journey, so I'm going to start posting. Anyway, so and then I thought, my goodness, people are really interested in this stuff. So then I just kept posting about my journey. So anyway, then it kind of grew. My Instagram following just grew, which was great. So everyone was fascinated with what I was doing. So anyway, I was doing face-to-face training, which I'm still doing now, and doing classes. But then I thought, oh, do you know what? How can I help more people? Right? How can I help more people? How can I? It's very localized, isn't it? Face-to-face training. So I just thought, why don't I come up with an app? So that will allow people from all over the world, because people were starting to contact me and say, do you do workout programs? Do you do this? Do you do that? And I was thinking, I need to come up with something that will help more people. So, hence the app. So, there it is, and it's live. And yeah, I'm on there every single day. And I'm really, I find because I love connecting with people, absolutely love it. And this is just a fabulous opportunity for me to be not only give people workouts to follow, like to start them off on their journeys, like beginners, intermediate, advanced, their weight training journey, teaching them by watching me and my form in my exercise videos, they're learning good form. So, and also I'm giving them nutritional tips and fitness tips that have worked for me. I'm in the app every single day. There's a chat room in there, so I'm talking to people. And there's like an Instagram feed in there. So I post on there every single day, and I post health tips and fitness tips that have worked for me again. So, and there's
So
meal planner packs and everything in there. So, yeah, there's a lot going on, but I love it because the main reason to do it was to connect with more people and help more people. And I thought this is just one way of doing it.
and it sounds like you've got a community on this app.
Yeah, I'm building one up, so it's really nice, and it's broadening my horizon, so people can join that app anywhere in the world. So it's not just localized to me. It's I can reach out and connect with more people. So it's great.
That's amazing. And you still are doing personal training every day in person.
Yeah. Well, I know. Yeah, so I'm still doing one-to-ones. Yeah, so I've got some great clients. I'm not probably going to take on any more of those because I just can't. I'm a bit rammed at the moment. So my son, my wonderful son, he's 18, so he's a chip off the old block actually because he has trained to become a personal trainer. So he did that during his college years as well. So he's taken over a little bit of the people who want one-to-ones. So I'm giving them my clients. So he's going down that route. So he's able to help me out a little bit there. So that's great. Um, yeah, I'm still doing classes. I'm still doing group classes. So I have people in my gym, up to about eight people. We're doing circuit training in my gym, which, do you know what, Ethan? It's about, I don't want to lose that um it's at least that pattern. It's so wonderful doing online stuff, it's great, but when you actually have someone face to face and that connection, it's also wonderful as well. So I'm trying to do a hybrid system at the moment and manage that, which I think is lovely. I don't want to lose that, face to face connection with clients, but I also want to do the online stuff as well because I can reach more people. So it's a bit of a hybrid system I've got going on at the moment, and it's sort of working. Yeah, at the
Yeah.
moment,
Yeah.
it's great.
You've given up sugar. You've given up smoking years ago. You've given up alcohol. Are do you find that exercise and working with people has filled all that for you, or do you have any vice left at all?
I know. What is my vice? I was thinking, oh my God. Um, yeah. I mean, it's enough for me. I don't miss alcohol. Smoking, I just don't think about. I don't really think about alcohol really. Um, I'm such a I guess I'm a really bubbly, positive person, and I just I don't need alcohol, and I kind of like I go out and I have a really good time. I love dancing, yeah. So I used to be a real party goer, and I loved to party, and I still love to party. Okay, so I still go out to gigs and I dance. I dance and dance and dance, and then I get in my car and drive home, and all my friends, so I drop them all off. It's great. um, but yeah, I don't know, I don't miss. I know I still, it doesn't impede on having a great time for me. I still go out and have a good time without alcohol. Sugar, don't even think about it. I just know how I feel without it, and I've learned so much about the impacts of sugar and what it causes to your body, and there's just no way. It's just no way. If someone gave me a box of chocolates in one hand, and I had half an avocado and a chicken breast in the other, I would definitely have the chicken breast and avocado. I don't even think about it. It's a no-brainer for me. I just think, what's that going to do for my body, right? That's going to give me nutrients. It's going to give me fiber, that chicken breast and that avocado. And I think, what's that box of chocolates going to give me? My God, it's going to spike my glucose, going to come crashing down in about like an hour. Then I'm going to want more chocolate. I'm going to have to eat the whole box of chocolates, right? Because I won't be able to stop at one because I won't. So, and then I'll feel dreadful after. I feel sick. I don't know. It just, yeah, I wouldn't want it. And then I'll feel guilty. So no, I'd rather have the chicken breast and avocado. Thanks.
Right. So you actually are happier without the vice. The vice has transformed. You now have good habits. You're doing things beneficial out of a place for self-care.
Absolutely. I guess my whole mindset has completely changed from years ago, where I suppose I was punishing myself in a way. Yeah, I was. I had a different mindset back then. I was punishing myself with hours of cardio if I had like a weekend of eating bad, or, having a few drinks. I would view exercise as punishing myself for that, and I'd have to, I get fit. I was on this kind of hamster wheel of like trying to be fit, so being really good from like Monday to Thursday, and then Thursday to the Sunday it would completely fall apart, and then I'd go back on the wheel again and try and better myself, and punish myself for those 3 days of being bad, and then so I'd spend Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday being really good, and then I'd be back on that, like, oh god, punishing bad food, and then it would just be like this vicious. So I was keeping my body in this kind of, I don't know, bit of a toxic state, really. And just, yeah, it wasn't healthy. It
Yeah.
was like eating badly and then punishing myself for it. But then my whole mindset has changed, and now it's all about viewing what I can do to like help my body and make it feel healthy and what's good for my body. So now I just look at food as what's that food going to give me? What nutrients is that going to give me? It's going to, and that's how I choose my food. I kind of, yeah, I look at it. I think what are the nutrients and vitamins in that food? It's going to give me this. It's going to give me that. So, and then I go for a nice walk. And I'm all about, yeah, so doing calming things. So at the weekend, I like going for walks with my dog. I'm very simple, I just, what's my favorite thing to do? Get up, might do a workout, take my time over it, and then I'll take the dog out for a nice leisurely walk. That's me. It's just happiness on a plate.
Yeah. There was a period of my life where I tried cheat days. I thought, well, if I'm very diligent, 6 days a week, Sunday could be a cheat day or an off day. And I found um the weight I was losing during the week, I was gaining on I would expunge or gain a little more on the cheat day. And really now it just is when I'm trying to rationalize it. Like I have a great relationship with my wife. What would a cheat day benefit me? A cheat day doesn't get me anywhere positive with my wife. Why would I do that to my body? Why would I want to sabotage my relationship with myself in that way? And I I think my the way I eat is not so rigid. Like if I'm crashing out during a workout, I might have a little sugar. I might have a half a Gatorade or something like that. But really, I'm using it as a tool. I'm not using it as some kind of like indulgence. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
so for me, I just don't understand this obsession with the part. If I think people that need cheat days, their structure is too rigid or they're not being realistic with themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? I mean, people often ask that to me. They ask me that question. Do you ever, have a piece of cake at someone's birthday party or something like that? And I say, well, no, because I just don't want it. I don't want it because, oh my God, if I had a piece of cake now, it would just be so sweet. I'd be like, oh. But I just don't want it. I guess because I haven't had sugar for 3 years, and putting that into my body now, I just know that, or what it would do to me. It just wouldn't agree with me. So, yeah, I don't know. Cheat days are funny, aren't they? I mean, I'm an all or nothing. So, um, yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
works for me.
I,
I'm
I
not
mean,
very good at moderating.
right.
Yeah,
That was also the difficulty. The cheat day on Sunday bled into Monday, which bled into
yeah,
Tuesday, and all of a sudden you like
yeah,
wake up and you haven't even been dieting for months.
yeah.
That was my experience too. Yeah, I
Mm.
don't understand the cheat day. I'm sure it works for some people, but like it never really was successful for me.
I think you have to be very, very disciplined, and I don't think I'm. I'm very disciplined actually. When you think about what I do now, I'm very disciplined. But going to a cheat day, I think no, my cheat day probably wouldn't stay at a day. It would probably go into two, and then before I knew it, it'd be three and four. So, the same with eating chocolate. I just know that, people say, "Well, don't you have one chocolate chunk a day? Like one chunk of chocolate? Don't you have that?" I'm like, I can't have one chunk of chocolate. Who has one chunk? Oh God, if people do that, I'd take my hat off to them because that's amazing. But I can I know that if it was a family bar of fruit and nut and that I was allowed one chunk, I'd be just staring at that rest of that bar. I wouldn't be able to stop at that one chunk. I think people who do that are amazing. I think that's really disciplined. But I I would rather not have that first chunk. I'd rather just not have it. I don't want it. I don't want
Yeah,
it because yeah, because I know I'm rubbish at moderating. I'd have to eat the whole bar. That would
right.
be me. The
Exactly.
whole
Me
bar.
too. The
Gone.
whole bar. And then I would probably be in the car driving somewhere to buy more.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Annie, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're out there doing this for people, of our age who
Oh,
who feel very much, I think a lot of us that it's too late. That what's the point? I should have done it when I was in my teens or 20s, and I think that it's important for guys like us to keep the message out there that it's never too late to start.
oh, absolutely. You're never too old and it's never too late. You just, the key is to keep moving and strengthening your body so that you can go on for many years, but live a healthy age,
Yeah.
healthy aging. It's all about that and keeping your body strong and having muscle, keeping that muscle strong. It's precious. Muscle is so precious. Build it and do your utmost to keep it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's lovely to meet you. Thank you for
You
letting me on here.
you too, absolutely.